It happened in late October, just as the leaves turned brittle and the wind seemed to speak secrets through the cracks in the windows. I was 17, home alone for the weekend, while my parents visited relatives a few hours away. I'd done it before, no big deal. We lived in a quiet, middle-class neighborhood where the loudest things were lawnmowers and barking dogs. Nothing ever happened there. That was before the weekend that still haunts me, even years later. Friday night started uneventfully. I ordered pizza, played video games, and scrolled through social media while the house settled into its usual creaks and sighs. Around midnight, I locked all the doors and windows, double-checked them out of habit, and then went to bed. The room was dark, except for the dim glow of my phone as I set an alarm and placed it on my nightstand. Then I drifted off to sleep. At exactly 3:27 a.m., I woke up. Not startled, not from a nightmare, just awake and uneasy. The house was silent, but not peacefully silent. It was the kind of silence that hummed with tension, like something was out of place. I lay there for a while, eyes open, trying to convince myself to fall back asleep. But then I heard it. Soft, deliberate footsteps. Not the creaks of a settling house, real, human footsteps, coming from the downstairs hallway. I froze. I lived with my parents, no siblings, no pets. No one should have been in the house. I sat up slowly, listening, heart pounding like a war drum in my chest. The footsteps moved steadily across the wooden floor below, slow and rhythmic, not sneaky like a burglar. Confident. Almost methodical. Still trying to rationalize it, I grabbed my phone and opened the security app. My dad had installed cameras at the front and back doors and one inside the living room. The app took a few seconds to load, longest seconds of my life. When the feed finally came through, my stomach dropped. The living room camera was offline. I checked the other two. Front door, fine. Back door, offline. Something was wrong. This wasn't a glitch. This felt targeted. I got out of bed as quietly as I could and locked my bedroom door. My phone still in hand, I texted my dad. "Are you awake? Cameras are offline. I think someone's in the house." No response. I didn't want to call and make noise, so I waited. The footsteps had stopped, or maybe the intruder had stopped moving. I couldn't tell. My breathing was shallow, ears straining for the slightest sound. Then, another noise. A faint scratching sound. Not loud, just barely audible. It was coming from my bedroom door. I stepped back, eyes wide, staring at the handle. It didn't move. Nothing happened for a few seconds. Then I heard something even worse. A low whisper. Not words, just breath. Something was on the other side of the door. Breathing. I backed into the corner of my room, grabbed the baseball bat under my bed, and pointed it at the door like it would help. I texted my dad again, then my mom. Still nothing. The whispering stopped. Silence returned. Then, soft laughter. Not loud, not manic, just a single chuckle. Dry, male, icy. It faded away slowly, like the person was walking away down the hall. I stayed frozen in place for over an hour. Nothing else happened. I must have dozed off from pure exhaustion because the next thing I remember was waiting to daylight streaming in through the window. I opened the door hesitantly and crept through the house. No one was there. Nothing was missing. No signs of forced entry. But the back door, which I know I locked, was slightly ajar. The rest of the weekend was quiet, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every window felt like a pair of eyes. Every shadow twitched in the corner of my vision. I didn't sleep Saturday night, just kept watch with the bat in my hand, jumping at every little noise. When my parents got back Sunday afternoon, I told them everything. They called the police, who found nothing. No prints, no signs of tampering. But the cameras, they checked the logs and confirmed that someone had manually disabled them around 3 a.m. from inside the house. A few months later, it happened again. Different house, different town. I'd moved out for college into a small apartment off campus. First floor. I had a roommate, Eric, but he was out of town for the weekend visiting his girlfriend. I didn't think much of it. I was older, stronger, more skeptical of ghosts and ghouls. I locked the doors, closed the blinds, normal stuff. That Saturday night, I stayed up late watching horror movies. Ironically, around 2:45 a.m., I paused the movie and went to the kitchen for a snack. That's when I noticed it. The front door was unlocked. I knew I locked it. I had checked it twice before sitting down for the night, and there was no way I'd forgotten. My blood ran cold. I slowly locked it, turned off the lights, and went to my room. Just in case, I slid a chair under the doorknob. It felt ridiculous, like something out of a movie. But I couldn't shake the feeling. The moment I climbed into bed, my phone buzzed. An airdrop request from someone named Looking at You. I nearly dropped my phone. The image being sent, a blurry picture of me, sitting on the couch, from behind the window. I screamed, grabbed my phone and keys, rushed to the door and flung it open, but the hallway outside was empty. I ran into the parking lot in my slippers and boxers, heart hammering. Nobody. Just wind and silence. I called the cops. They arrived 15 minutes later and searched the apartment. Nothing. No sign of forced entry, no strange devices, no explanation for how someone got close enough to take that photo. But the image was still there on my phone, still clear, and undeniably real. Over the next year, similar things happened. Always when I was alone. Different places, different times. Once I found muddy footprints in my bathroom. Once I heard whispering under my bed. When I looked, nothing was there, except a piece of paper that said, "Still here." Every time, it was subtle enough to make me question my sanity. Every time, the police found nothing. Eventually, I moved in with a group of friends. I figured being around people would stop it. And it did, for a while, until last month. We were all out one evening, and I came home first. The house was dark and still. I flicked on the lights. Nothing seemed out of place, until I saw the photos. Someone had gone into my room and taped Polaroids to the mirror. Each one was of me, sleeping in different places, different nights. One of them was from that very morning. I checked the windows, all locked, the door still deadbolted when I came in. Whoever did it had been inside the house while I was asleep. I don't know who they are or what they want. I've changed phones, locks, homes, states. I sleep with cameras running, weapons nearby, and lights on. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I still hear it. Breathing from the hallway, or laughter outside my window. Sometimes I get a new photo airdropped with no explanation. Sometimes I find my bedroom door slightly open, even though I know I locked it. I don't think I'm being haunted. I think I'm being hunted. And I'm still alone.